What's up, people? Sharky back once again. Today I'm going to be looking at the Marvel Legends series Wolverine Wwii Logan. So let's get cracking. Alright, straight off the bat, you get a look at the window and everything that he comes with. You know that the Build-A-Figure for this wave is Executioner. He does not come with a Build-A-Figure part. We'll have a look at the side art here. And Logan's looking a little angry. On the back, you've got another close-up of that piece of art. You've got the cross-cell down here with everyone in this wave, and of course the Executioner. There's a little blurb here. It reads, long before Wolverine joined the X-Men, Logan served in World War II, teaming with allies Captain America, Bucky, and Nick Fury in the battle against the Axis powers. That is true. He also served in several other conflicts that included World War I and Vietnam, to name a couple. But I'm going to get my trusty little blade here and open this bad boy up. Now, if you're new to the channel, you might not know that when I open up a figure, the first thing I like to do is just see how it stands out of the box without any manipulation. And as you can see, good old Logan has no issues on that front. Now, I'm going to do the accessories first because that's how I roll. But before I do, as I said, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, always good to have you back. Now, accessory-wise, he comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items plus an alternate head. So we'll start with the singular fist, because you got to punch Nazis when you get the opportunity. So they've included this for that occasion. It is very basic. Focus, please, camera, focus. All right, let's just lock that into place, shall we? Oh, mate, come on. So yeah. It is a fist. Next up, he comes with a K-bar knife, which is reuse, I believe. I think it came with, and I've just dropped it, with one of the Captain America World War II figures. So if you have that, you will have seen it before. But if not, it's a nice little piece. It's got a nice little serrated edge down here, as well as the normal part of the blade up here. And we're just going to take our mate here and we're going to chuck it in his leg so it's out of the way. And as you can see, it fits very snug. It ain't popping out. All right, we've got his man bag, or military satchel if you were, and it doesn't open, of course, but it does have some nice deco here on the buckle of the strap, and also on the front there too. What would have Wolverine carried in here? Good question. I would guess explosives if I had to hazard a guess. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Next up, you get his 2 clawed hands. Now, a bit of contention, a bone of contention, if you will, is that in the comics that World War II Wolverine featured in, and there's been a couple here and there, he had bone claws, but I believe in the cartoon, and there was an episode of the cartoon where he had these wrapped bladed gloves and they were used for climbing. Now, personally, I would have preferred the bone claws, and you know, that's a small gripe, I guess, that I have, but well, I'm sure some other people will share it as well. But alas, he has his strap-on clawed hands, And that is not my term. I've borrowed that from Dwight, who said that, I think, in one of the streams. Strap-on claw hands, people. We'll bring up his Danzig-inspired head sculpt. Look at that hair. Oof. Flourishing locks, if you were. Mutton chops for days. Now, I don't know, but it looks a bit young. Like, he doesn't look as rugged as I would expect him to look. Like, he's very clean shaven. Like, he's going to the club and not serving on the front lines. But that's just me. But there's a close-up of it for you. So we'll lob that over there. And then you get his M1928A1 Thompson, which is, again, reuse, I believe, from one of those cap releases. And it's a nice piece. And I don't think, any figures that have a Thompson, so that's kind of cool in itself. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm primarily a G.I. Joe classified collector, but I also dabble in Marvel. It doesn't have any removable mag, and it's got like a very glossy finish to it on the it would have been nice for some wood grain here, but it is a Marvel Legends, so at this point you know what you're kind of coming to expect. But it is a nice piece nonetheless. So that's the accessories out of the way. Why don't we have a look at the figure? Okay, so we'll start from the top and work our way down. Now, this head sculpt I dig. Like, this is Wolverine going to war, Battlefront styles. Helmet is not removable, which is a shame, but again, it's a Marvel Legend, so you're not going to expect a great deal. Articulation wise, those arms are a tad crunchy, but they aren't too bad. How much room is here in the butterfly? Oof, there is not. I don't even know if that is a butterfly joint. If it is, it is very stuck. But while we're here, we'll have a look at this military insignia here. Tampo on his upper left bicep. And I just want to see over here if this... Yeah, nah. There is nothing going on the shoulder front, which is a tad disappointing, I'm not going to lie. The arms are a little crunchy, but not too bad. Double pinless in the elbows, if it wants to mend. Someone's trying to call me right now while I film this, so I'm just going to hit ignore to that one. All right, and this one here. Yeah, they're pretty smooth moving. Bicep swivel, no issues there or there. Wrist swivel, all okay on that front. Now, this camera is not wanting to focus. Focus, please. Thank you very much. Just, oh my Lord. There we go. We're on here. There is some nice detail in the upper here, which I want to sort of hone in on. From the buckles on the straps of his webbing to the belt buckle down here. It's got multiple pouches, 45 magazine pouches here. Flipping him around, you've got a look at the webbing on the back. It's pretty bare bones on that front, but overall it does look nice. There is also some really nice texturing through his jacket as well, and he's wearing a t-shirt. Down here you can see that this isn't very movable at all. Like, there is give obviously for movement for the legs, but this camera is being a real pain in the ass right now. Where was I? But yeah, it's quite firm, but there is a bit of give. You've got thigh swivel here, no issues there. A little clunky, but not too bad. And also there. Leg wise, he can't quite kick his own ass, but I'm sure he can do some up kicking. Up kicking? Ass kicking. Whilst kicking up. There you go. been a long day, folks. I'm filming this after I've come home from work. Now, look at that. Did you just see that? When I lifted the leg up, look at that. That got caught there, and there is a little bit of tension on that. So just be mindful of that if you are posing him, to get the leg clear of the garment there, because that is not good. Other leg, again, up so far. Here you've got the gaiters, which is obviously authentic to a World War II era soldier. Boot cut. The knife obviously is inhibiting things a little bit there, but let's be honest, you're probably not going to spin that around much, but there is a bit of, look at that, there's a little bit of gap there on that leg. So we'll test the other one out. Yeah, definitely no resistance there. Toe wise, you can go 10 toes down, and the feet will go up a little bit. So now that I've had a little muck around with him, let's see again how he stands just after some maneuvering, and you'll see no issue. All right, so I'm going to kit him up before we do some head swaps, because there's a couple of things I want to see, and I'm sure some of you who are keen on getting this figure are going to want to see this too, so stick with me. And if you are new to the channel and you've made it this far and you're enjoying the content, please feel free to hit the like button, share it, post it here or there, whatever. Subscribe if you want. Hit the hype button, because apparently when you hype these things, they go into the YouTube stratosphere. So I've heard. I don't know. But anyway, enough talk. Let's keep going. Okay, so got the Thompson in hand, got the satchel over this shoulder, and the reason I point that out is I thought it would be easier to pop it on here, because you've got nothing really here to sort of get in the way of it, and it does sit flush there with these ammo pouches here. But when you want to get that gun into like a firing position, or into even just a holding position, that's going to be in the way a little bit. So I might flip that over there and see how that goes, because I want to see if you can, you know, get the gun actually over here into two hands. All right, so you can see you can get him into a decent firing stance, and I did flip the satchel over to this side, but it is still a little cumbersome, but you can, I guess, move past it. But one thing I don't like is with this hand here, you can't actually hold, it doesn't, like the gun is too small for the hand is too big, and you can see, watch this, if I try to pop it in there, it just sort of pops out. So it doesn't actually hold it well. But I guess with a bit of heat, you might be able to alter that. And the other thing I did notice also is that my barrel is a little bit bent, but I kind of straightened it out a little bit, so it's not too bad. But yeah, it's a bit problematic in that sense, and I don't like that, because if he's a soldier, sure, he's Wolverine, he's got claws, but you want him to be able to hold the gun properly at least. Anyway, I've showed you that, so you can have a play around with it when you get yours, but I feel like even this, maybe if I slung it at the back, it might sit a bit better. Let's try that. We'll see how we go. Try things on the fly, folks. Why not? Yeah, see, it's still not allowing him to hold it properly. It just pops out. Anyway, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. So let's get these hands off and have a look at the claws. Now, as you can see, it looks pretty badass with the claws on. You know, you've got this army version of Logan, and he's going to rip some people to shreds with these bad boys. But the lack of these shoulder joints having like very little in terms of range of movement is a bit shit. I'm not going to lie. You know, it's Wolverine. You want him to be able to pose well and whatnot, but like they do go back so far, but they're not fantastic. Like, yeah, I'm not a massive fan. I'm not a massive fan, but that's okay. We will push on. one thing I did want to point out that I did miss before is the head articulation. He can look down to about there. He can't look up very far. And of course, with his jacket, the range of movement in the ab crunches is limited. You can get down to about there, and you can get him back about there. But with the claws on, in the army garb and the helmet, he's looking pretty damn mean. In terms of head swaps, I'm sure some people would like to see how the Nick Fury head looks on him, and it looks awesome. There's only one problem. He's short, and Nick Fury definitely is not. So, although it works, it's a perfect fit, it's seamless, it just looks a bit wrong. However, there is one other head sculpt that I think will work well. And that is, of course, Dum Dum Duggan. And that looks great as well. And I feel like you can get away with this kit bash a lot easier because of the height. Dum Dum Duggan isn't really tall from what I recall from the comics. And you can fudge it, you know, if it's just a little less comic accurate than you would like. But it does work. And I kind of feel like we're going to possibly see these used for another military release. Like, why wouldn't we? You know, they've done it once. So a Dum Dum Duggan would work, but not so much the Nick Fury. So there you go. There's another good look at that. So if you're buying two for this exact reason, now you know it works. But that's enough head swaps. Why don't we get the Wolverine head back on and kit him out with something else? And as I mentioned at the start of the video, like, obviously Logan was in Vietnam. So although, you know, the World War II aesthetic of the figure doesn't really lend well to a Vietnam sort of soldier in terms of the garb, you know, it doesn't look too bad if you throw an AK in his hands. I did try to see if the other hand would hold a gun, and I'll demonstrate for you that this is a Gridiron M16 M203, so it's a bit bigger, and if you tuck it in the arm even, it's gonna fall out. So yeah, but anyway, just having a bit of fun, you know, why not try these things, you know, when you've got a figure for the first time. All right, first comparison, you have Secret Wars Cap over here, and again, Nick Fury, because even though you've seen him already, I had to reunite him with his World War II allies. So again, it serves as a good height comparison. Logan is of course short, so it's accurate on that front. But yeah, like if we had a military version of this guy, it would look so much better, I think, in terms of this comparison. But there you have it. All right, G.I. Joe time. So over here we've got Grunt, and over here we have Leatherneck. And in terms of, you know, a comparison military-wise, you know, the OD green of this definitely varies to, you know, the classified version of Grunt, and of course Leatherneck's camo. But I threw him in here because of it's a good height comparison as well. And, you know, Grunt is essentially an infantry soldier, so it worked on that level as well. Other than that, I think he blends well, but I want to see how he blends with another line. So let's switch these guys out and do exactly that. All right, so here you can see I've inserted a couple of Operation Monster Force figures, and these are the villains of that line from the first wave, the Sleepwalkers, and they're kind of dated World War II-esque aesthetic / steampunk. I think lends well to villains that you could have Logan fighting against. You know, that's the beauty of the Monster Force line, is that, you know, it blends well with other lines. So I just wanted to throw them in there so you can have a good look. I think the red really pops on this guy to sort of give you a bit of a different sort of, you know, perspective. But I'm going to pull him out, and I want to throw another Monster Force figure in there, and that is General. And now, normally he's General Brown, but This one has more of the Thunderbolt Ross look to him. So, you know, the Marvel crossover sort of appeal on that front works well in terms of him having that military suit on. Just gives you another idea of the shades of green in comparison. Like, the pants are pretty close, actually. I figured I'd put the K-bar in his hand just to see how well he gripped it, and just to put him in a pose as if he was like attacking someone with it, or he was going to throw it. And the trigger finger, obviously having held the Thompson, it does sit in there, and it doesn't look like it's going to come out. So he does pose well with that, just so you know. But that's pretty much the review, guys. Final thoughts. I was really geeked about getting this figure, and although I like it, the shortcomings that it does have, kind of sort of have like tainted it for me, I guess, a little bit. I mean, it's not a bad figure per se, but, you know, not being able to hold his weapon properly is one glaring one that stands out. This head sculpt I probably won't even use, but I'm sure some people will love it. That's personal preference. The bone claws, like I mentioned, not being bone. Again, it's a gripe, and, you know, this is accurate in one respect, but in another way it's not. You know, I would much rather them have foregone giving us a fist hand, and, you know, maybe they could have just given us another proper C-grip hand and got rid of this one and included the bone claws as well. But yeah, it's a nice figure. In terms of posability, as you've seen, it does pose well. The shoulder articulation is not great, like I mentioned, and that kind of does affect it, you know what I mean? Because I have the Gamerverse Wolverine. He's not here on camera, but he's in my cabinet, and if you watch my review of that, you'll no doubt know how dynamic that figure is if you haven't already got it. It's a great Wolverine, even if it is a little bit tall. It's, you know, in terms of how you can pose it, it's fantastic. And I think with the way that this figure is designed, it kind of impedes that. And, you know, even with the placement of the satchel, like, sure, popping over his back, that works to a point too. But just small little nitpicks, folks, small little nitpicks. But if you like military figures, then you're going to like it. If you like Wolverine figures, well, of course, you're going to buy it. But yeah, it's not a bad figure. It just has a few little wrinkles. That's all. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. And if you did enjoy it and you made it this far, thanks for watching. Feel free to hit all those buttons that I mentioned previously, or don't. The choice is yours. One thing I will say before I go is you will want to watch this channel over the next couple of days, because I've got something else coming. I'm not going to say what that is, but it's a good one, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, folks, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care of yourself, have fun with your toys, and say hi to your dogs for me.